Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky took the world by surprise when he agreed to hold elections amid the war, until he put forth his condition. Zelensky has said that his government is prepared to hold elections in the next 2 to 3 months, provided United States and European allies ensure a secure voting process in the war-torn country, essentially security guarantees. The president also issued instructions to his government to make necessary constitutional amendments that pave the way for elections. Listen in.
Я прошу, щоб депутати нашої фракції, в принципі, наші парламентарі, підготували законодавчі пропозиції щодо можливості зміни законодавчих основ і закону про вибори під час воєнного стану. Підготували це для мене. Я завтра буду в Україні. Я очікую пропозицій від партнерів, очікую пропозицій від наших депутатів і готовий йти на вибори.
Now, Zelensky's statement, remember, comes as a response to the American president accusing him of using the war to evade an electoral process. This is not the first time that Trump has tried to pressure Zelensky into conducting elections. The US president's remarks mirror a demand that Russia has been making for long now, as a condition in the peace deal. Putin has repeatedly called Zelensky an illegitimate leader. In the past, the Russian president has also said that a peace deal with Ukraine is legally impossible unless it is with a legitimate leader from the country. Ukrainians elected Zelensky back in 2019 with a decisive margin. His term, remember, as the president ended in May 2024. But Ukraine's constitution prohibits elections when the country is under martial law. Even in a scenario that the law is changed to conduct polls, practical challenges remain. For instance, Ukrainian military personnel will be unable to vote with active front lines. Then there are thousands of citizens who fled Ukraine since the war began in February 2022. Now remember, in the past 3.5 years, Zelensky's government has also been rocked by corruption scandals. However, there is little discourse within Ukraine about a need for the country to go into polls while the war with Russia is still on. All right, let's get a perspective on this latest statement by Volodymyr Zelensky. We're joined by Olena Tregub. She's Secretary General of Independent Defense Anti-Corruption Committee and Defense Expert. She's joining us live from Kyiv at the moment. Olena, thanks very much for joining us on WION. Can I first understand from you how Ukrainians are viewing this statement? Are they seeing this as a delaying tactic by Zelensky because he knows that perhaps defeat is imminent? Or this is a firm response and rather a taunt to President Trump that, look, if you give us security guarantees, I'm ready to hold elections anytime soon?
First of all, good afternoon. First of all, I wanted to tell to your viewers that it's actually not President Zelensky, but it's Ukrainian civil society, including my organization, who a few years ago, wrote multiple statements and letters to European Union, to United States, saying that Ukrainians do not want to have election during war and explaining why. It's not about Zelensky. It's just because we cannot have election during war. It is impossible. Right now, what is happening, that Zelensky said that he's ready. Of course, I do believe that he's ready, that he is not really using the war to stay in power like Trump says. But the condition for this election is not only the legislative changes that we need to do in the constitution, but the ceasefire, not peace negotiation, but the actual ceasefire when there are no drones flying, no missiles flying, that it's illegal, it's impossible to ask people to come to the voting precinct and 100 people will come and Russian missile will kill 100 people. And who will be responsible for that? Would it be Ukrainian state who allowed people to gather during the martial law? Do you understand these legal implications? And this is why if Russia is ready to do the ceasefire, if Donald Trump can push Russia to do ceasefire, of course we can have election. But in my opinion, Russia will not guarantee ceasefire. Russia will not stop shooting. Why Russia cannot stop shooting? So that we have ceasefire and we conduct peace negotiation. Did you ask this question? And my answer is that this is because Russia doesn't want to stop the war.
And therefore, Elena, what is the way forward? Since Ukrainians want elections, but not amid the war. In fact, Zelensky's own opponents, political opponents, have also been saying, let the war get over, only then we should hold elections. And therefore, what's the way forward according to you? Because obviously Donald Trump and the European allies of Ukraine have not been giving the kind of security guarantees that President Zelensky has been demanding from them.
The way forward is to convince Russia to at least pause the war, at least have their ceasefire, start peace negotiation. And this can be done through pressure on Russia. Right now, America, instead of pressuring Russia, is pressuring Ukraine. Europe is not pressuring Russia enough. And as a result, this scenario is not being realized. When Russian economy suffers, when Russia sees it's better for them to stop the war, then it will happen. Otherwise, I just don't even see other scenario, because it doesn't matter who will be Ukrainian president. Ukrainian people, in their majority, do not agree to capitulate to Russia, do not agree for all these demands that Russia is making against Ukraine, and that's why it's impossible to stop the war. It's the whole nation fighting for their existence, for their survival, and they will not stop defending themselves unless the aggressor state will stop invading them. So this is why I'm not optimistic about the peace in the nearest future.
All right. Let's wait and watch how this moves forward. Elena Tregu, thank you very much. We'll leave it there. Thank you for joining us on WION and sharing your perspective.